What's going on out there in YouTube land? I'm Walter Jones, and I'm jonesing for some discussions. That's right. Spine number one, because I thought the hot seat would be a weird thing to say. Because who wants to be in the hot seat? No one, except for maybe someone with a cold ass. And I don't think the person I have on tonight. You know what? I'm going to leave it at that. Let's not make it weird already, okay? All right. They put the Panic and the Satanic. They are the cultist of the Criterion. Please welcome my guest right now, Celeste de la Cabra. All right. Hopefully I know how to do this. Let's see.
Hi.
Yay.
It
Welcome.
worked. Thank you,
Yes.
and thank you for that very lovely introduction.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Hopefully my internet has got the chops tonight for us, for all the good stuff.
I think it'll be good. I have a good feeling about it.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, the rain is like not terrible, so who cares about the weather? Let's talk movies, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So we got Darvin in here, and they're super excited for the interview. So I'm just gonna quickly go through this chat log here. Boom. Very excited. I am as well.
Thank you, Darvin. Shout out to you.
Yeah, good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here. I don't know how many people are in here. It might be just him, and that's okay. So there's, boom. Just gonna cram through it. There we go. He already has a question before I started. Thoughts on David Lynch? Celeste, hit it.
Oh, thoughts on David Lynch? Boy, my all-time favorite director. Let me try to give some brief thoughts on that. I think that his work is best understood through an emotional lens rather than a logical one. I think a lot of people get tripped up on trying to understand his work as perfectly rational and A to B to C, as opposed to trying to find a emotional and thematic through line that goes through the work that I think you'll find is more consistent than you think. But he comes up with images of horror and beauty unlike anybody else that I can think of, and his work is very special to me.
Nice. You know what?
What are your thoughts?
I haven't seen enough Lynch to even think of giving a response.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think what Lynch I've seen. And, when I do things in my brain, I'm trying to think. It's like when you go into a music store and you're like, I forgot every band I ever loved. That's
really
what happens sometimes. So, yeah, I have Crash on Criterion. That's Lynch, isn't it?
That's Cronenberg.
Oh, geez, see, already killing the interview.
No, you're fine. Have you seen Mulholland Drive?
I think I saw it once, and I think you have to see that movie at least 1,000 times to really understand it.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
That's my favorite that he's done. I'm a huge fan of Twin Peaks as well, like the TV series, and the accompanying film is very good as well.
Okay.
The Elephant Man, I think, is probably his most accessible, but it's very good.
I have seen that. Yay. All right. Okay. I love The Elephant Man. John Hurt.
Yeah,
right?
it's really good.
It was amazing stuff. Yeah, Darwin is chiming in here. More of an emotional director than logical, as you said. So
yeah, for sure.
I obviously have to watch more Lynch. All right.
I'd recommend Blue Velvet. That's one where it's a little bit stranger, but it's also kind of makes sense.
All right. I have seen Blue Velvet. It's a great film.
Yeah.
It like my wife's like, you're gonna love this because you like weird shit, and I'm like, cool, and I did because I like weird shit. So
yeah.
I'm gonna get cracking on these questions I got for you. I don't know how much time you have today, but I kind of want to make it short and sweet because we all have busy lives. Well, some people.
Well, I'm good for as long as you'll have me.
All right.
Yeah. So I do apologize for my brief tardiness.
Oh, it was a minute. I was like sweating a little bit of bullets, but that's all right.
Yeah, we were.
I can muster.
We were just cooking dinner, and it said it would take 30 minutes, and it didn't. So
yeah, that's all good. What can I ask? What you had?
We made a quinoa tabbouleh and chickpea kind of bowl of sorts.
Yeah, that sounds pretty yummy.
It was really good.
Yeah, we're having beef for tea tonight. Not that anyone cares in the stream, but just throwing that out there. All right. So I'm just gonna get cracking on these questions. So, as a physical media collector, how large is your collection, and what got you started?
So that's an interesting question. On my Blu-ray.com account, it says that I have about 900 barcodes scanned. But I also keep a much more specific letterbox list of everything that's in my collection, and I actually do include a lot of like the short films that come on them and the supplemental documentaries and stuff like that. And that list is about like 1,500 titles. So it really depends on how you measure it. Uh, I don't really have a good in between number between those things because I know that like a box set would only count as one on Blu-ray.com versus like 25 on my list. So it's around 1,000, I would think probably.
Okay.
And how I got into it was probably, I don't know, I've always like it, like streaming has never to me been like the end all be all or something like that. It's always been like something to accompany it. And I just always had DVDs and Blu-rays around, not to the extent that I do now. So I guess the real question is, how did I get into it like this? And that would be over the course of the pandemic, I just kind of had all this extra free time and I couldn't go to live shows anymore. So I just watched a bunch of movies and I got like really obsessed with that. And it hasn't really slowed down, even though now I am going to shows again. I just am cramming the time for both. And I don't know, I guess a combination of just this brand new, world of like Blu-rays and boutique stuff and all this cinema discovery that you get through that, and going into all the special features and stuff, actually learning about the craft of filmmaking and everything like that. And I don't know, I'm a really big fan of art and just the physical item. I used to collect CDs when I was a kid, and I have a ton of like T-shirts, and I mean, you can probably see I have stuff all over the wall. I'm a big fan of artwork, so it's just all one really nice package that I have that you can
Nice.
get.
I get that 100%. For me personally, I've always been a fan of film. When I was
Mhm.
very young, I wanted to be a makeup artist, and then I realized I didn't have the artistic chops for that. So then I was like, well, maybe I'll go to film school or community college film classes. Let's be honest there. And I really enjoy like screenwriting, right? The process of that, and I've worked on student films and stuff. And I've always collected, VHS, DVD, and
Mhm.
Blu-ray, and for all the jazz. And I'm the same as you with like music. Back in the day, finding cassettes, right? Because I'm an old man here. Uh,
I have a few cassettes.
yeah, I think one of the first was probably Twisted Sister.
Mhm.
Big metal fan, and Iron Maiden, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, it just kind of snowballed with me as well. Where you just accumulate and accumulate, and you know, it's a fun expensive pastime.
Yeah,
So
a little
yeah,
bit.
it was just a touch of
Mm.
expense. All right, I want to get cracking on these next questions. Oh, let me see. Let's see. Here we go. Do you have a vinyl collection, Celeste?
Um, So my girlfriend is actually more into vinyl than I do. I've actually thought a lot about this, why I am so into collecting films on physical media, but I really moved away from music. I really just stream my music at this point. And I have like, there's a shelf behind me of, I don't know, like 2 rows of CDs or something like that. I actually just sold off most of them. And we have like a couple, I don't know, a row or two of vinyl records of just like favorites and collectibles and stuff like that. But it's really just like, I don't actually have a vinyl player, so it's like a just a collectible item, I guess. But I guess music to me is something that is just like constantly present. Like if I'm not actively like viewing something or taking something in, I'm always listening to music. And so at that point, I really do put a premium on convenience to just have it constantly. Like whereas when I watch a film, I want to actually dedicate a block of time to put my full attention to it. It's not just like the background of my entire life. You know what I mean? It's actually like a dedicated activity. So I think that's probably where that kind of need comes from. Also, my musical diet has just become so voracious that I literally couldn't afford to buy all of it like I do with the movies.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. I used to listen to predominantly metal in high school,
Hmm.
many years ago, and now I'll listen to almost anything. Like there's
Hmm.
no limit, from
Yeah.
classical to West Coast rap to
Yeah.
I just whatever.
Hmm.
Everything tickles the fancies now, I guess.
Yeah.
That's not a saying, but I'm going to try and make it one.
It's pretty much a saying, I think.
All right. Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, what am I talking about? All right. So I thought this was an interesting question. What horror film still scares you to this day?
Well, the scariest film I've ever seen is Lake Mungo.
Okay.
But I haven't rewatched it since I first saw it. Um, but that one actually gave me like a physical reaction where I like felt unwell during certain parts of that. It was just so intense and like scared the shit out of me. So I've been waiting to find the second sight limited edition version of it because I slept on it. I didn't grab one. And I just know that as soon as I buy the standard edition, I'm gonna find the limited one, you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's why I haven't rewatched it because I've just been looking for that for months. But yeah, that's probably the one. I don't know. I thought Black Christmas was pretty scary too. There's I don't know. Maybe The Shining. The Shining is really intense. I remember thinking that one was fairly frightening when I first saw it, and I rewatched it like last year, I think, maybe the year before, and it was like still pretty intense, you know. So
Okay. Okay. Haven't seen Lake Mungo, so I'll have to check that out.
it's a found footage film, but I think it's probably, or it's almost like a mockumentary, but I
Okay.
think it's probably the gold standard for that style of filmmaking.
All right. All right. I like my found footage. They're pretty fun.
Hmm.
You know. Yeah. I one of the found footage I tried to watch was the Pogahese tapes. I think is what
I
it's
don't think I've
called.
seen that one.
I'll be honest, man. I did not care for it. Did not care for it
Yeah,
at all.
it's a
Just
mixed bag for sure.
yeah, like it's one that I'm excited about. I've never seen is the August Underground, and it's coming out through
Hmm.
Unearthed, and I can't wait to get my hands on. I know it's not gonna obviously look good because it's found footage
Yeah.
and it looks like VHS, one of those giant VHS-C cameras,
Hmm.
but but I but I'm just jazzed to finally own it. It's like one of the unicorns, right? For
Hmm.
me, because I missed out 20 years ago when Fred Vogel put that out, I think.
You're
So
talking about like the really like extreme like
yeah,
torture films, right? Yeah.
yes, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I like extreme horror movies.
Yeah, I do too, but there is actually a limit for me, I think, and I haven't quite found where that is, but I suspect that might be it. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I've I've seen my fair share of those films. I like to. I don't feel there should be like censorship in film,
Hmm.
and I know that some movies go too far, and I understand that, but
Hmm.
I think I want to see how far I can view things,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
totally
just
understand that. Like
right.
I have a kind of special interest in those kind of extreme films. Like it's actually in the past year I've kind of been slowly working my way through the kind of canon of like really extreme filmmaking that I had kind of put off for a long time. Like I saw Cannibal Holocaust and I saw a Serbian film and I saw Martyrs, and you
Yeah,
know, there's relative. They're all. It's a case by case thing. You know, some of them really were hard to watch, and some of them I was like, it's not that bad. It's kind of silly, honestly. But
yeah. I
yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I saw a Serbian film as well, right?
Hmm.
Because that's like the top of the most disturbing list on most lists that
Hmm.
you see on the internet. And I was like, all right, and I found it, actually purchased it. I found it on
Hmm.
DVD. It's a Christmas present, right? Worst Christmas present ever. Uh, and I watched it and I was like, man, this is rough to sit through, you
Hmm.
know. And I watched it with a friend, and I'm like, this is even worse than I watched it twice. What's wrong with my brain here?
Hmm.
And I haven't watched it again. I'm like, two's enough. That's just enough, you know.
With that one in particular, I found it to be actually kind of silly in certain parts where it didn't disturb me, and in other parts I was like, yeah, that's pretty rough. I don't think I need to be seeing that. But
Right? Yeah.
to kind of maybe help you feel better about yourself there, I've also given a lot of thought as to why I seek out like really extreme stuff like that. And like I have a small section of my book collection that is just like nonfiction books about like torture. And it's, you know, it seems a bit weird at first brush probably, but I think it's an exercise in empathy in that I'm interested in the most extreme sides of the human experience. And it's something that I never want to go through and probably will never go through, but I still want to extend that empathy to people who have, you know?
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Yeah, it's weird that we seek out the most, strange or disturbing,
Hmm.
but life in itself is probably a little strange and disturbing. So,
For sure.
all right, we got Darwin just killing in the comments section. So I'm gonna blast through a couple more of
He's
these.
always killing the comments. I
Okay,
really appreciate that.
all right, let's see where. Let's see. So I gotta zoom back a little
But you're fine.
bit. Ooh, I'm gonna go with this one. Uh, he said the scariest movie was either Climax or Come and See.
Oh,
Um,
Come and See I haven't seen yet because that's like extreme in the way that it's like actually for real and it might actually ruin my week or something. I gotta be a little bit careful with my mental health sometimes, so I gotta pick a good day for it. But
right.
Climax is Gaspar Noé, who I'm a big fan of. I didn't realize it was supposed to be that disturbing though, so I should check that out.
So I saw Come and See. They have it on the Criterion,
Hmm.
and I picked it up, and it was a blind buy.
Hmm.
Like I'm insane. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen this. I might just spend $40, whatever.
Hmm.
And I watched it, and I was like, it's a brutal portrayal of war. And
Hmm.
I think it's like, I don't know if it's based in fact,
It is,
but
yeah.
it was, whew, yeah, it was a rough watch. I was
Yeah.
like, I need to watch some like cartoons afterwards,
Yeah.
something very chill. Um, but I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I'll probably do a rewatch on it eventually and
Hmm.
maybe do a video about it.
Yeah.
Climax though, like I don't know if I was like deathly ill that day, but I tried to watch it and I don't know, I just couldn't get into it. I maybe watched the first half and then was like passed out. So I
Well,
probably missed the good points.
Well, his films are intentionally like as abrasive as possible, from what I've seen, like actively trying to make the viewer turn it off. So I feel like it's an endurance test almost. So I don't know. That might
Okay.
not be abnormal.
All right. Darwin saying the August Underground wasn't great. Second movie was worse. So yeah, and I think Unearth is putting out the trilogy of films.
I've
So
heard that they get more and more into like less into the artistic merit category and more into the just straight up like I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it just gets
just the
less and less
brutality of it.
legitimate. Yeah.
Okay. Oof. Okay. This I've never seen Vomit Gore trilogy, and I don't know if I ever will.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, watching people barf on camera is not really a favorite pastime of mine. You know, uh, I,
That's something that I have gone through, and maybe I don't need to relive it over and over again. I don't know.
so I own Barf Bunny. I don't know if you're familiar with this film at all.
I've never heard of it. No.
Okay, it's a short. It's done by a guy named Jonathan Doe, and he's making this series called the Erotic Grotesque Nonsense series, and it is
Mm.
100% that. And it's I'm going to spoil a little bit here if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
All right, cool. So it's about a bunny, and this bunny is the star Felicia Fisher, who does adult entertainment, and she basically eats a bunch of like vegetables and fruit and pukes in a bunny costume. And that's the film for like 50 minutes. And then there's some other stuff that happens at the end. I won't spoil that, but it's, watching someone just actively, expunge their contents is like, I
Hmm.
did a watch on it. Like I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this. I'm going to stream it on my channel and I'm going to eat the same food she eats while watching it. Right. Not,
Hmm.
not watching it before previously. And I didn't get sick, thankfully, but, I came close.
Mm.
It was not a smart idea,
That's
but
a interesting premise for a
yeah,
video.
yeah, it was. I'm like, yeah, this thing's like in my brain. I'm like, this is great. This is content. Then I'm doing it. I'm like, this
It's
is
like just
dumb. Doing
vegetables, right?
yeah, yeah,
Well, okay. Well, at least that's easy on the stomach for the most part.
yeah. It was like vegetables and like grapes and strawberries. It was
Mm.
very pastel vomit. It was it
Yeah.
was terrible. Moving on. Sorry, getting on a tangent over here. Uh, let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, yeah. He says yeah. He saw me on oops. There we go. Yeah, I did the unboxing on it. Ah, have you heard of Triangle of Sadness yet? Have you watched the trailer
Yeah,
on
we
it?
were at the Alamo Draft House last month, and that was one of the like 2 or 3 films that we wanted to see. It just wasn't at a good time, so we saw Barbarian instead. But I just keep hearing more and more good things about it. Like that was the first time I had heard of it, and I was like, this looks neat. And I've just been hearing a lot about it, so it's definitely on my radar at this point.
We have a very independent cinema 3 minutes down the road from me, and they have it playing right now, and I really want to go see it, but I just haven't found the time. It's the same director that did Force Majeure. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's like he basically does movies about like the rich bougie people and the aftermath of terrible crap happening to them, and it's beautiful. I mean,
that sounds like a good time to me.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like this is awesome. I can't, like I can deal with that all day long. All right, okay, so moving on to the next question for you, because we're kicking into 20 minutes here. What are your thoughts on Possession from 1981?
Oh, it's like in my top 10 favorite films of all time.
Nice.
I think it is again, it's something I've only seen once, and I think I'm letting it marinate a little bit before I watch it again. I'm almost scared to watch it again because I don't know if I'll have the same experience again. It was just so, I don't know, on all levels, like from just the straight up horror aspect of it to the relationship dynamic to the acting, and then especially like the cinematography is kind of what keeps it all together and what makes it even like more intense and harder to watch. Like some of the shots in that I just found so astounding and like had struggled to figure out how they did them. And I don't know, I think you could analyze that film probably longer than the runtime itself. Like it is just, there's so much going on in it. Yeah, I've got that beautiful set from somebody, Mondovision, I think. And
Yeah.
I watched the making of documentary, which I really enjoyed, but I need to go back and watch the commentary and everything. But that is a really special film, I think. Just one of the more powerful pieces of art I think I've ever experienced. So, yeah, I really can't talk highly enough about that one.
I know you've only seen it once. Do you have a favorite scene?
Favorite scene? Well, the one in the subway is pretty intense. That one's pretty like memorable.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know. There's that one. I'm thinking of a few, but I wouldn't want to spoil the surprise for anybody who hasn't seen it. But there's some, let's call it Lovecraftian scenes that I really enjoyed as well.
Yeah, those were some amazing scenes. For me personally, I think it might have been, there's a scene where Sam Neill and her are in the restaurant and like they leave. I think it's been a while since I've seen it, so I apologize if my timeline is all jacked up. It like he smacks her in the street and she screams something and blood pours out of her mouth.
Oh yeah.
Walks away, and like I just like, to me that was like super powerful, and I was it was just my heart, in a good way. So yeah, I found that as a blind buy in a Suncoast Video. Paid like $30 DVD. Just I'm like, oh, Sam Neill, cool. This might be interesting. And I watched it and I was like, holy crap, this is cinema.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. That's probably one I'd give to somebody who thinks that like horror is like a lesser genre or like pop art or something, like not serious. It's just like, well, yeah, I don't know. I would consider that to be like a really important, high art, really just incredible piece of art. You know what I mean? So yeah, that would be the one I think to give to somebody who's not sold on the legitimacy of horror as a medium. I think it's also one that the director like resents it being called that, but let's be honest here. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's not a family film, that's for certain. It's about family, but it's not a family film. Yeah. And he was going through a terrible divorce during that as well. So
yeah, that might be the most interesting part of it to me, is because a lot of that was taken from his own life and his own experiences with his ex-wife. So you would think that this would be a film that like villainizes the woman in this situation or whatever. And I think some people do have that read on it where they feel like it's like a very like male-centric, male perspective film. And I have a hard time understanding that perspective because I think they're both really complicated characters, but to me, he is certainly not the one that comes out looking the best by the end of it.
Right.
I don't
No,
know.
no one's smelling like roses in this thing. We can agree on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. I wanted to hear your thoughts. I saw the box set. I'm like, I have to hear your thoughts.
Mhm.
So this is I don't know if it's a fun question. What is your most regretted purchase this last month of October?
My most regretted purchase in the month of October. That's a good question. Um,
Because I know we have them sometimes, right?
yeah, we do. Uh, I gotta be honest, I'm not sure that there was one this month.
Oh, that's good.
Uh,
That's awesome.
I mean, I maybe just to give an answer, I bought Godzilla versus Kong on 4K because it
Okay.
was like $10,
Nice.
and it's just like I don't know. Did I really need that? But I do want. And I mean, it's Godzilla Day, and I'm wearing one of my Godzilla
Oh,
shirts in
awesome.
honor of that. So I'm a
Very
big,
cool.
big fan. So it's part of the whole thing. But to be honest, I don't really like the film very much. I need to rewatch it at some point. So why not?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've seen the original Godzilla,
Hmm.
and maybe one or two other of the old, and that's it. Like, it's something I need to spend some time with.
Hmm.
My wife's a
If
giant
you,
Godfather fan, so
yeah, that's
I
good.
should, I should
That's
get
awesome.
into it. I really
Um,
want the Criterion set, really,
that's what I was
really
about to
bad.
say.
Yeah.
If you have the money for it
Ugh.
this coming sale,
Ugh.
it's maybe my favorite thing in my collection, and it just
Really?
brings
Okay.
me joy all the
And
time.
it's huge, right? I
Just
mean, it's
having it.
ginormous.
It's probably
Yeah.
that tall. It's not. It's big for a book, is what I'm saying. But it's thin. It's mainly tall. So I actually bought some little like display things for a few of my odds and ends, and that's just been on a display piece on top of one of my shelves for years now, and it brings me great joy. And I
Nice.
watched everything on it, and I highly, highly recommend it. So.
Okay. Maybe I have a little bit of cash saved up for the sale, so maybe I'll not buy those two box sets I thought of and pick up that. So
I mean, it's definitely for a certain group of people because when you really start to get into the weeds on those films, it does get repetitive and you do get, some diminishing returns. But
okay.
just the fact that they like before that set, that era of those films were like, I mean, they were available on DVD for like a second, but they've been out of print for a while, and like you have to go and get, five or six different things to finally get all of them, and to just have them all at one set, like perfectly restored with new supplements and everything, and just this beautiful artwork. It's just a really towering accomplishment, I think. But to me, like it's all about the first one. The first one is like one of my favorite films ever, and I really like the rest of them too. But yeah, it's definitely. I think you got to be really into it to
Yeah.
appreciate the whole thing.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm that person, but my wife is. So
Hmm.
I'll call it good on that. I'm gonna hit some more of these Darwin comments. He's killing it over here. Plans to watch Lost Highway on the big screen.
That's nice.
Yeah. Might attend the Memento screening. It's pretty cool having these movies to be able to
Hmm.
see in a theater.
I have a
There's
oh, Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie. That would be a lot of fun to see in the theater. I would recommend seeing that one. That's just
no.
such a bizarre, wacko film that I think would be
That's
fun to watch with
Brunel,
a group
right?
of people. Yeah,
Okay. Haven't seen any Brunel yet, so
I'm a big fan of his as well. He's a
okay.
really kind of iconoclastic, like blasphemous director
Oh,
that
I like all
uses
those
like,
words.
yeah, like he uses a lot of comedy and a lot of surrealism and a lot of nonsense, I guess, to create his stuff, and it's just a joy for me. But I'm really into the kind of esoteric surrealist stuff. But that one is just like so bizarre in the directions that it takes that it would be, I think, a ton of fun to see with a group of people.
Nice. Like that. Now
Mm.
that's fun. Uh, have you seen the '97 Funny Games?
I haven't seen either of them actually. I've been meaning to. I know that they're supposed to be pretty intense.
Yeah, I haven't seen the remake, but it's done by the same director, so
Hmm.
got to give him points for that.
Hmm.
But the original it's a bit of a sit through, like tough on you.
Hmm.
Just gonna buy every ticket. That's good. Yeah, theaters need money, man.
Yeah. There's a theater pretty close to me that's like, I don't know if it's an art house, it's an independent theater, and they show like stuff after it does its initial theatrical run, and they'll show some art house stuff like while it's playing, but they do a lot of like classics and stuff. And I would love to support them more because it's such a nice place and it's such a cool thing that exists that I would like to support. But I gotta be honest, their sound system is terrible, and like I can't hear any of the dialogue when I go see a film there, and it like actually hurts my ears. So it's really not ideal for first time viewing, unless it has subtitles. Like I almost saw a Tarkovsky film there, and didn't end up going, but that would have been okay because I at least would have had my subtitles.
All right, Darvin asked if you have a letterbox.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
It is linked on my channel and in the description box of all my videos.
Nice. I have a letterbox that I generally don't talk about, but I have.
I followed you on there recently, I think.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, next question. This one's going to be. I feel a head scratcher, at least for me, even when I thought of the question.
Mm-hmm.
If you could recommend only one Criterion movie to purchase on this upcoming sale at Barnes and Nobles, what would it be?
That's kind of a tough question because I would want to know who I'm recommending it to, because then I could kind of tailor that recommendation. But as a blanket general recommendation, I am tempted to say the Godzilla set again, but that's just
Okay.
my own biases talking.
Yeah, that's
Um,
okay.
and it is a little expensive. So let's think about a singular title. I'm going to say Pink Flamingos because I adore that film so much. And
That's
it
a great
is,
film.
I think you just have to see it. You know, anybody. I think it is so important in the history of like queer cinema and camp and independent filmmaking. And the package is just such a joy. And there's so many supplements on it. I was just elated when that was announced, and I got it as soon as I could. So I'm gonna go with that because I gotta rep the boy John Waters.
Oh yeah, for certain. John Waters is a national treasure,
Yeah,
100%.
I saw him live recently at the very theater I was just kind of shit talking a little bit, but they're a great place, and that was a great event. And they actually the wristbands to attend the event had little pink flamingos on them, so I
That's
kept that wristband.
nice. Yeah, John Waters, I think, just came through where I'm at, but I did not go see him because I'm an old man and I have what is called reverse vampirism. I fall
Mm-hmm.
asleep basically when the sun goes down.
Hmm.
So, because I
Gotcha.
wake up basically in the middle of the night for no good reason.
Hmm.
Not that anyone cares about my sleeping habits here, but just threw that out for some.
Well, I think that's interesting, especially since film viewing is usually such a nighttime activity that I imagine would make things difficult because I have a hard time watching things when there's, I mean, I have blackout curtains and everything, but it still can get annoying when there's sunlight at all.
Yeah, at the last place we're at, I had blackout curtains and it was like dark as the tomb.
Hmm.
And here we have them too, but I can it doesn't affect me as much. I don't think. Or I've learned to
Gotcha.
just be like, oh, there's a little bit of light in the TV. So
Hmm.
all right, I think I kind of asked this question a little bit earlier, so I'm going to skip this one. And the question was, what was the most disturbing film you ever have seen? And
Oh, I actually have a different answer for that.
oh,
I think the
okay,
most disturbing film I've ever seen is Cannibal Holocaust. And that is maybe like a bit of a, I don't know, a normie answer or something. Like people are like, oh, there's way more extreme stuff than that. But I don't know. When I was going through my checklist of like really extreme films, that was the one that got to me the most. And I did even watch the animal cruelty free version of it because that's kind of like my hard line is like that kind of level of it. Like I've come to realize I can't really fully avoid it, but that to me is like breaching a line that I'm not willing to go with them on. But thankfully, the Grindhouse release has a separate cut of it where you can view it without that stuff. And I don't know, there was still just something about it. And I'm actually a big fan of the film. Like I will defend it as a pretty meaningful piece of social commentary. But I just there were scenes in that that really turned my stomach and were really hard to watch, and the whole thing was just so nasty and grimy. Like I had to take a couple breaks, or I was just like, I am having a hard time with this, but we're gonna power through, you know.
Right.
But that would be my answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Some of the special effects they had at the ending of that film, I was like, the first thought was like,
Yeah.
how did they do that? Are those people still okay?
Yeah,
You
really.
know,
Hmm.
because I think he had a contract with some of the actors that they would not like be seen on other TV
Hmm.
shows for a year afterwards.
It
So
got him in trouble, from what I
yeah,
understand. He had to show up in court and
yeah,
rescind that to not go to jail.
yeah. We were talking about suffering for art, man. Yeesh.
Yeah.
All right. Uh, Movies with Ryan is here. Hey,
Oh, hey,
Ryan,
Ryan, what's up? Thanks
how's
for
it going,
popping in.
man? Yeah, appreciate it. Darvin says he takes some interest in my sleep schedule. Thanks, I think. He says, Ryan. He says, hey, Darvin. Everyone's saying hello. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm super. This is the first sale I've actually gone to at a Barnes and Nobles.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah.
That's fun. It's like a
So,
whole event at our house. Like
oh,
we have a fun, it's like Christmas shopping or something for ourselves, you know, it's fun. It starts tomorrow, so that's pretty cool.
yeah, I'm gonna be there at 9 a.m. like a lunatic. You know, got my list right. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. So
Nice.
Darvin says he's pre-ordering the Haneke set. Nice.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that. I know those are supposed to be really intense. The only film of his I've seen is Cachet, and I didn't think that that was a particularly tough watch, but it was a pretty dense one in terms of its themes, and it's it's a pretty tough one to wrap your head around and really fully digest. But I really, really liked it, so I'm definitely interested in the rest of his stuff.
Yeah, I think I've only seen Funny Games, to be honest.
Hmm.
Just the original, not the remake or anything. So one more director that I need to put on the watch list, right? It's
Yeah,
the
it's
never-ending watch
overwhelming
list.
sometimes. There's a lot out there.
Yeah, a ton of stuff. Okay,
Yeah, that's right. I remember when, okay, fun story about that real quick. I remember when that was in theaters. I'm like 99% sure that this is the film I'm thinking of because I remember that poster. And my cousin went to see it at the time. He was like roped into it for something or another, and he couldn't stop talking about how bad it was, like how nothing happens. And like, I don't know who decided to take a child to a Michael Haneke like art house French film, but it was funny to hear his reaction to that, and then all these years later be like, "Oh, it was that one." I think I'd like to actually see that. You know?
back when I was a young pup, 20 plus years ago, I went to a midnight showing of The Exorcist, the version you've
Hmm.
never seen before,
Hmm.
and the theater's packed, and in front of us is this family with like their baby and like their 3-year-old kid. I'm like, who's taking babies and 3-year-olds to see a horror movie in the middle of the night? And but they didn't leave, so I guess they enjoyed it. I don't know. Pretty wild stuff.
Well, I've heard that there's a certain age threshold where before then they don't really understand anything, so you can kind of get away with that. But I don't know. At a
Yeah.
certain point, you got to be careful about traumatizing them.
Right. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that like I saw Jaws at age 6, and well, I got some trouble about sharks. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of attacks that sharks actually do is like minuscule.
Yeah,
But that movie messed me up.
I actually, I guess it would have been in July. I went through the entire 4K set and watched all the documentaries and stuff. And my favorite bit that I learned from that was that the author of the original Jaws novel actually has dedicated his life to like shark advocacy and activism because he feels terrible about like the fact that his book has spawned like this myth that has actually killed thousands and thousands of sharks. So he's actually trying to use the rest of his life to like rectify that, and people actually listen to him because he's like, hey, I wrote Jaws and I made it up, like it's not a real
Yeah.
thing. And I
It
thought
was
that
like,
that
hey,
was a really nice thing.
yeah, that's very cool. The author is Peter Benchley, I believe.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking. All right, movies of Ryan. List is probably the best way to do it. I'm assuming he's talking about the Criterion. 90% of list and 10 new recs or new directors. Yeah, I probably have more than 10% new stuff. A bunch of stuff I haven't seen that I have on my
Yeah.
list, which I won't get into because that'll be later down the line. Talk about it.
I'm a
All
big
right.
fan of blind buying, so I
Of what?
probably do it too much. Blind buying stuff.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
probably a little too bad about it, honestly, but I have a blast. Like, I don't know, there's only so much time, really. Like, if I'm fairly confident that I'm going to enjoy it, I mean, I might as well watch the best version of it and then have all these nice supplements to enjoy, to contextualize it and stuff. If the, if the price is really good and everything, I don't know. I think it's fine.
Right. Uh, so I don't know if you can see, probably can't. I'm wearing my Severin T-shirt, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
okay.
And
Hmm.
so like I recently got into Severin, and I picked up
Hmm.
two blind buys recently: The Day of the Beast in
Hmm.
4K, which I'd never seen,
Hmm.
and God, what was the other one? Dark Waters. I think I love Craftian tale. Um, and Day of the Beast was okay, but it was like I'm like, slightly regrettable on the purchase, but I mean, it
Hmm.
looked beautiful, so I can justify
Well,
it, I suppose.
the nice thing about blind buying, especially something like a Severin title, or like I talk a lot about Vinegar Syndrome on my channel, which is like kind of the definition of like a risky blind buy. But the nice thing about these labels is that they retain their value and you can pretty easily make back your money, or even in some cases, like make a little bit extra money, depending on if something goes out of print or whatever.
Right.
But everything that I've sold from my Vinegar Syndrome subscription that I didn't like, I've made my money back and then some. So it's, I mean, when you're talking about studio stuff, probably not as much, but and then at that point, it's like $10 or something. It's like a
Yeah,
rental or
you're lucky.
something.
You're lucky if you can't give the studio stuff away, right?
Yeah, really.
So yeah, I've recently got into Vinegar Syndrome as well. Like I picked up that House of Psychotic Women. That is an excellent box set.
I think that one was the. I think that's Severin, the
Is
Psychotic
it
Women
Severin?
set. Yeah,
Oh, geez, you're right. You're right.
I really want that, but I really need to stop blind buying big sets like that.
Yeah.
I've gone too far. I have too many box sets just
Hmm.
staring at me that I haven't
Yeah.
watched yet. It's too much. But
I
I love the concept of that, and that's really cool that a woman is doing like directing and I guess putting that together and
yeah.
everything. And it comes with her book and everything, which is now on my radar and I want to pick up and read. But yeah.
Yeah, I want to get that as well. The book itself, but the Blu-ray set is just it's phenomenal. It's really great.
Hmm.
So when you have the extra ducats, plunk it down. I mean, you might love it, you might hate it. I don't know.
I think I'll like
Um,
it. I liked
so
their nunsploitation set. I watched the first film in
um,
that and I enjoyed it.
I watched the first two. I like the first one because I'm going just in the order that like they're
Hmm.
set in there. And the second one was okay. I mean, it was all right, but I've never really watched nunsploitation, so it was like my first
Hmm.
foray.
Hmm.
And so I gotta see the other two, and then I can make some kind of educated guess if that
Hmm.
was worth it. Because I found it used for $40. So
That was pretty good.
that at that price point, I was just like, well, okay, I'll
Yeah,
uh,
that's worth it for sure.
yeah. All right. So the next question: what is the single most expensive movie purchase you have ever made?
Oh, that's a
Yeah, it's a
personal
loaded one. I
question.
know it's loaded.
Um, Gosh, we're not counting like a big set, are we? Like a single title that I probably paid because I'm
You can
thinking
do
of
box
one.
set, single title, whatever you want, whatever you feel
Because I mean,
comfortable with
that Godzilla
that.
set's like 110, so it would technically beat this, but I paid I think $80 for the out of print Criterion of Chunking Express. Uh, just because I know that the version that's on the Wong Kar-wai set is different, and because I love the film so much, I want to have both versions represented. And again, it's like one of my favorites, so I thought it would just be a cool collector's item regardless. I think that's as bad as it's gotten in terms of paying out the ass for an out of print title. I think I've generally been pretty good about that.
Right.
Um, I was in a bidding war for that Lake Mungo thing, and it got up to like 100, and I was just like,
Oof.
it was in the last seconds, and I was like, I resisted. But there was that, you know, evil gremlin in my brain telling me to keep on going and just it could finally be yours, but not at that
Yeah.
price.
Yeah. That's whew. So for me, so I was talking to you about Jonathan Doe and the erotic grotesque nonsense series.
Hmm.
He's just putting out the third one. So I actually like helped associate produce it, right? Because he's like,
Hmm.
send me money and get your name in the credits, IMDb. I'm like, ooh, neat. And I just picked up his limited editions are like $70 a pop. So that's probably,
Mm.
I think that's the most expensive purchase I've personally made. on any kind of movie-related shenanigans. All right. I wrote this down and like I'm going to ask anyways. Will physical media go away in the future? Why or why not?
I don't think so. I think it's like, I mean, I don't think this is a particularly original thought, but I think it's clear that the sort of big box stores are struggling and stopping to stock it because the return on the shelf or the floor space is not high enough. Uh, but like, you know, from what I understand, all these companies that we've spent all this time talking about and that we like so much have actually been reporting like record profits. Like I think Vinegar Syndrome is like doing better than they've ever done before. And I thought it was the same way across the board. I don't know, these Criterion layoffs had me a little bit nervous about that, but I think that they've been doing really well too. I mean, they just got like a Disney title and everything. So
Yeah,
I don't know what was going on there, but
yeah.
I,
That was my
I think they're doing okay, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, I don't understand why they would lay off that much of their workforce.
Hmm.
And then I'm like, well, they did just, get a Disney Pixar title, so that's probably a couple bucks to license that, I imagine.
Yeah,
But
something
like
like that.
their amount that they're still putting out the same amount of titles each month.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
I don't know. Just kind of it's a bummer. That's a bummer. I talked about it
but
on the channel and just
yeah,
like,
I mean,
what's up?
I think even if like the boutique labels start to struggle, the idea that it would completely go away is something that I find to be pretty unlikely. But I guess there is a scenario I could imagine where there's just no more DVD players being produced, and there's no reason, or Blu-ray players, and there's no reason to keep producing that. But I mean, they still make CDs. Like there's still a record store in my town, and
Right.
they stock brand new releases of CDs, and they don't make cars with CD players anymore. So if that can survive, then I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a used record store here and used bookstores and stuff. So I don't. And I agree 100%. I think that the boutique labels are just killing it lately. I mean,
Hmm.
and they're getting some great titles too, like with the Amityville Horror. That
Hmm.
was Vinegar, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
That's one of my
So
favorite releases of the year. It's incredible.
yeah, I see everyone showing it off, and I'm like, man, I want that, but I'm like $45.
Well, I'm
So
a crazy person, and I paid like $500 for the halfway subscription, so I got it sent to me for. I think it works out to about $20 a title.
oh, that's good. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a bit of a price point on a subscription, but you
yeah.
know, whatever
This
makes you
I'm
happy.
I'm gonna I'm gonna be doing a very very in-depth video on the whole subscription when I'm done like getting everything in the mail and watching everything, and I'm gonna go through the numbers of like, all right, let's really talk about like, was this worth it? Did it like pay for itself? Because the partner label titles you get half off like right out the gate all the time for the ones that are releasing your subscription. So that's works out to an $8 savings per title. So I mean, if you're again a crazy person like me and you buy enough of them, I mean, it could theoretically pay for itself. So
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm gonna get cracking on a couple more of these comments. Oh, I did that one already.
yeah, the Zatoichi set, I think that sounds like your kind of thing, Ryan. Yeah, that's a pretty intense set, 25 films in a series to watch back to back to back. Yeah, that's a
that's
lot.
a that's a lot
But
of coffee right
it's a
there.
beautiful box. Yeah.
Is it still in print?
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Darwin followed you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Watch Sanatochi. I don't know. Hopefully, I'm saying that right.
I think it's Zatoichi, but yeah.
Yeah.
5 nights, 25. So that's 5 films a night. Jesus.
That's 10 hours roughly, right? Roughly.
Maybe they're like an hour a piece. I don't know,
Oh,
but
that's still a lot.
sheesh. Yeah,
Yeah. Good
that's
job, man.
ambitious.
Darwin's eyes are bleeding. All right, just gonna crack through these, get to the end. Yeesh.
Yeah, I don't know.
What state am I in? I'm in one of the southern states because I'm somewhat private of a person. All right, I think that's 37 hours in total. That's a lot.
So that's over 5 hours per day at that point.
Yeah, that's yeesh.
I don't think I could do that with Godzilla even, or something that I really, really love. I think I would get tired of it, but more power to you. I'm sure that was a fun thing.
I mean, I think the most I've watched in a day is probably 3, maybe 4 movies, but like, my eyes hurt. I mean,
yeah,
got the old man eyes.
mm-hmm.
All right. So the last question I have before we get to word association, which is fairly small. If you could work with any artist, alive or dead, who would it be?
If I could work
and when I say artist, sorry, it could be film, it could be music, it could be art. Like it doesn't like just artists in general.
Maybe I would say either David Lynch or Chelsea Wolfe would be my picks.
I am not familiar with Chelsea Wolfe.
She is a singer-songwriter, and she does she's kind of traversed a few different genres at this point, but I guess goth rock would kind of be the easiest way to describe it. But she actually collaborated with Tyler Bates on the score for X, and actually recently listened to that the whole way through, and it's just so good. Yeah, I've had a bit of a what's the least creepy way to say this? Infatuation with her for some time now. I just think she's so amazing, and the work she puts out is incredible.
Crush with her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Strictly intellectual.
Strictly intellectual. Okay, that's right on. Okay, so you know how word association works, right?
I think so. You're gonna say a word, and I'm gonna hit you back with whatever comes to mind, right?
A word or a phrase, first thing to your head. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I don't know. I couldn't even remember the phrase. I'm like, I had to go ask the wife. I'm like, what is that thing where you do that? And she's like, it's called word association, honey. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna kill this interview, man. Whew. Okay, so I
think you're doing great so far. By the way, this has been a lot of fun. I think you've been doing great.
Thank you. All right, so I just got 10. We're just gonna rapid fire. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Criterion.
Disc.
Okay. James Cameron.
Avatar.
H.P. Lovecraft.
Tentacles.
Love it. Spike Lee.
Black Klansman.
Okay, haven't seen it. Nice. Vinegar Syndrome.
It's not a word, but the logo, the girl with the legs and the thing filled. We're gonna go with pinup girl.
All right, cool. Divine.
Shit. Dog shit.
That's great. Joan Crawford.
Hangers.
Love it. Oh man, that's nice. Death metal.
I don't know why, but Metallica was the first thing that came to mind because I think the Death Magnetic album cover popped in my head.
Nice.
But I guess Death, the band, would be the correct answer for that.
Oh, there's no correct answers here. Silent films.
Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, love it. And the last one is Scream Factory.
Blue Cases, I guess.
Awesome. Cool. Celeste, that's all the questions and all the word associations I have. Do you have anything you'd like to add? Anything you'd like to talk about?
I think, if anybody is watching this and is a fan of Walter's channel, I think you would be a fan of mine as well. We seem to have pretty similar tastes and perspectives in terms of how we approach this as an art form and everything. But I would just humbly ask you to come check out the channel. I've been putting a ton of work into it lately, and it's very rewarding, but it is also exhausting. So it would greatly be appreciated. But if somehow you're over here because of my channel, which is a strange thing to think about, then you should definitely subscribe to Walter because he's amazing and he's done an excellent interview here, and I've had a lot of fun.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And obviously, if you haven't subscribed to Celeste channel, you get over there and do it. Just stop watching this and just go and subscribe. Like, come on. And leave comments and likes because, the algorithm likes that crap, right?
Yeah. I like the comments a lot, too. That's my favorite part is interacting with, real people instead of just kind of throwing a video out into the void or whatever. That's my favorite part.
I get that as well. I'm going to punch through these comments. We have a few more. And then we'll just do a little wrap up. Cool?
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right. So I don't know what that is.
Oh, Satan Tango is a 7 hour, like, fuck, I think it's a Polish film or something like that. It's been some. I read the book actually first, and I've been meaning to watch the film for like a year now. It was on the Criterion channel, and I was really gung ho, like we're gonna do it. We're gonna watch it in one sitting. And we got about an hour in, and my girlfriend fell asleep, and we just didn't get another opportunity to do it. So I don't know. It's really hard to like carve out like literally a work shift to watch a film, you know? So we might just have to bite the bullet and do it in shifts, but we'll see.
There's a DVD I purchased that is it, I'm trying to think of the title. It's slipping my brain. It's like something about the lions in the house, and it's like this 4.5 hour documentary about these children who are dying from like terminal cancer.
Oh, well, that sounds like an easy watch.
Yeah, it's definitely one that I'm not ever gonna cry on. I'm sure, you know.
Yeah.
Not there'll be more than one single tear that rolls down my cheek on that, and I've just been putting it off because you know it's not gonna be.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's kind of how I feel about Come and See. It's a little too real these days, the kind of brutality of fascism and everything like that. It might give me like an anxiety attack watching that or something. I don't know.
There were definitely some scenes in there that I like mouth. You know, I did one of those because it was just like, what am I seeing here? So, but I do that a lot with stuff I watch. Sometimes it's like, oh, I can't believe that, or this is terrible. Same look on my face. All right, so Takeout. I don't know if Darvin was participating in the word association with us.
I think so.
Okay.
Takeout is a film that was just put out by Criterion. It's directed by Sean Baker. I'm definitely interested in it. I really honestly don't have a lot of money to participate, but I know I'm going to anyway.
Right.
I just have to, I guess, be wise about it. I don't know.
Time to start selling our blood, right?
Hey, that's not a terrible idea.
Yeah, or at least the plasma. You probably get more for that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, Celeste, it was a pleasure having this interview with you today.
For me as well. It was a lot of fun. I think you have a real talent for this, and I look forward to seeing the rest. Are you going to be revealing any future guests, or is that going to be like a surprise thing?
I haven't got a hold of anyone yet, but
Gotcha.
Some of the circle that everyone is into now, I'm going to try and get a couple people out of that and see if they'd be willing to sit down with me. And if not, maybe you could spend another hour with me at a later date and we could chat some more.
Yeah, we could do that. I would recommend reaching out to KB from KB Loves Movies. I think he does something similar here, and I think you guys would have a good time.
Okay, awesome. I'll definitely reach out to him. Thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool. All right, Darvin, Movies with Ryan, and whoever the mysterious third person in the chat is, thank you for joining us. And we'll see you again real soon.
Yeah, thank you for participating and everything. And yeah, we'll see you around.
All right.
Have a good one.
Out of here, guys.
Bye.
Oh, one more thing. Hail Satan and hail Celeste.
Thank you. Hail Satan indeed.
All right, see ya.